The scope's crosshairs danced across 52 muzzle flashes. 52 points of light in the pre-dawn darkness, each one spitting death into the narrow valley below. Sergeant First Class Kiera Blackwood pressed her cheek against the cold stock of her Remington MSR. Her breath came in measured intervals. In, hold, out. The rhythm she'd learned 8 years ago. The rhythm that had kept her alive through 3 deployments. But now her hands trembled. Through the Leopold Mark V scope, she watched her team pinned down 400 meters below. 11 men scrambling for cover behind rocks that wouldn't save them. Tracers carved orange lines through the mountain air. The distinctive crack of AK-47s echoed off the canyon walls, mixing with the deeper hammer of PKE-M machine guns. Her radio crackled with desperate voices. Contact front, contact left. Man down, man down. Reaper, we need suppressive fire now. Kira's finger rested on the trigger. A 2-pound pull. That's all it would take. She'd made harder shots, the 847-meter kill in Helmand province that made her legendary. The impossible wind shot in Kandahar. The night engagement in Mosul that saved 12 Marines. But her finger wouldn't move, because 6 months ago in a valley not unlike this one she'd hesitated, and Corporal Liam Garrett had died screaming her name. The radio crackled again. Lieutenant Commander Everett Thornhill's voice strained but steady. Broken arrow. Broken arrow. This is SEAL Team Charlie Grid 43, North 109 West. We are surrounded by approximately 50 hostile forces, requesting immediate quick reaction force. How copy? The response came back flat. Professional, cold. Charlie actual, this is Mountain Command. Negative on air support. Solar flare activity has disrupted satellite communications. Weather conditions prevent rotary wing operations. Ground convoy is 70 minutes out. Can you hold position? 70 minutes. Kira did the math in her head. She had 102 rounds left. The team below had maybe 6 magazines each. Call it 180 rounds total, against 52 professional fighters with crew-served weapons and elevated positions. The math didn't work. It never worked. 22 hours earlier, the nightmare always started the same way. Kira was back in the Afghan valley. Corporal Garrett beside her in the hide site, his Kentucky drawl soft in her ear. Winds shifting, Reaper. 3 knots, maybe 4. You seeing that mirage at 400? She was lining up the shot. Taliban commander, 640 meters. Difficult but manageable. Then the RPG team appeared. Flanking position. Garrett stood to reposition. Liam, wait. The shot she should have taken. The half second she spent recalculating wind. The hesitation that cost everything. The explosion, the screaming, the blood. Kira jolted awake in her San Diego apartment, heart hammering against her ribs. The clock read 0347. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Deployment notification. She sat up, letting her breathing slow. Through the thin wall, she could hear her daughter Audrey sleeping. 8 years old, 3rd grade. Science fair project due next week on wind patterns. The irony wasn't lost on Kira. She picked up her phone. The text was brief. 0800 briefing. Wheels up 1400. Duration 48 hours. Location classified. In the bathroom, she splashed water on her face and stared at the woman in the mirror. 32 years old, but the eyes looked older. Hazel eyes that had seen too much. Shoulder-length auburn hair, pulled back in a regulation bun. A thin scar along her left jawline from a piece of shrapnel in Ramadi. The prescription bottle sat on the sink. Lorazepam, for anxiety, for the nightmares, for the moments when her trigger finger froze. She didn't take one. Instead, she went to Audrey's room. Her daughter slept peacefully, surrounded by stuffed animals and science textbooks. A poster on the wall showed different cloud formations. Cirrus, Cumulus, Stratus. Kira kissed her forehead. Love you, baby girl. Audrey stirred. Mommy. Shh, go back to sleep. You leaving again? Just for a little while. Grandma's coming to stay. Will you be safe? The question every child asks. The question that has no honest answer. Always, sweetheart. Always. Naval Amphibious Base Coronado smelled like salt water and jet fuel. Kira arrived at 0745, carrying her deployment bag and rifle case. The MSR weighed 11 pounds unloaded. She'd carried it through 8 countries and 37 missions. It felt heavier every time. The briefing room was already half full. She recognized most of the faces. Lieutenant Commander Everett Thornhill stood at the front studying satellite imagery on the wall screen. 42 years old career SEAL with the weathered face of a man who'd spent 20 years in the wind and sun. Chief Petty Officer Callum Brennan nodded as she entered. 38, built like a fire hydrant with forearms that looked carved from oak. Weapons specialist. The man who could field strip a Ma Deuce blindfolded. Reaper, he said. Heard you were back on the roster. Heard right. How's the head? Fine. That's not what I asked. Kira met his eyes. Brennan had been there in Afghanistan, had helped carry Garrett's body to the helicopter, had sat with her during the memorial service. I'm good to go, Callum. Wouldn't be here otherwise. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded. The rest of the team filtered in. Petty Officer First Class Bennett Ashford, their communications specialist. Hospital Corpsman, Second Class Graham Sterling, the team medic. Petty Officer Second Class Finn Gallagher's demolitions expert with a baby face and a talent for making things explode. The experienced operators. Then the younger ones. Wyatt Sullivan, Declan Hayes, Rowan Carter, all in their mid to late 20s. Good men, solid operators, and the three rookies. Owen Brooks, Lachlan Murphy, Colton Wade, early 20s, fresh from training. This would be their first real-world operation. Kira remembered being that young, that eager, that convinced of her own immortality. Thornhill called the room to order. Gentlemen and lady, listen up. The satellite image on the screen showed a mountain valley. Narrow, steep walls, heavy forest cover. 48 hours ago, NSA intercepted communications suggesting a private military contractor group is operating a training facility in the Wind River, Range, Wyoming. Grid coordinates 43 North 109 West. This location does not appear on any official maps. The valley is completely uncharted. Thornhill clicked to the next image. Infrared satellite footage showed heat signatures, buildings, vehicles. Intel suggests 15 to 20 hostile styles, light weapons, minimal defensive preparations. This appears to be a temporary training camp for contractors heading to overseas operations. Brennan raised a hand. Who's hiring them? Unknown, but the presence of an unauthorized paramilitary training facility on U.S. soil is a federal concern. Our mission is simple. Infiltrate, gather photographic intelligence, identify personnel if possible, extract, no engagement unless absolutely necessary. Thornhill's eyes swept the room. This is reconnaissance only. We go in quiet. We stay quiet. We leave quiet. Questions? Kira raised her hand. Rules of engagement, sir. Defend yourselves if compromised. But our primary objective is intelligence gathering, not body count. He clicked to the next slide. Topographical map. Insertion point is here, 15 clicks north of the target valley. We hump in under darkness. Kira, you'll take overwatch position on this southern ridge, 220 meters elevation above the valley floor. You'll have clear sight lines for the entire operation. The ridge position looked good, solid cover, multiple egress routes, clear fields of fire. Kira nodded. Understood, sir. Wheeler up is 1400 hours. Weather window is tight. We insert at 0400 local time. 48 hours on the ground maximum. Any problems we extract early. This should be straightforward. Brennan muttered under his breath. Famous last words. They flew north in two UH-60 Blackhawks. The afternoon sun painted the California coast gold, then the Nevada desert copper, then the Wyoming mountains silver. Kira sat in the troop compartment performing her pre-mission ritual. She opened her rifle case and began the inspection. Remington MSR, modular sniper rifle, chambered in .338 Lapua Magnum, effective range 1,800 meters in the right hands. She disassembled the bolt, checked the firing pin, examined the extractor, reassembled it with practice movements. Then the scope. Leupold Mark 5 HD, 5 to 25 power magnification, 35 millimeter tube. She checked the turrets. Elevation, windage, parallax adjustment. From her pack, she pulled out her dope book. Data on previous engagement. Handwritten notes from hundreds of shots. Distances, wind calls, temperature, humidity, altitude. Every variable that could make the difference between a kill and a miss, between life and death. Her magazines held 5 rounds each. She'd packed 24 magazines, 120 rounds of Sierra Match King 250 grain bullets, boat tail hollow points, ballistic coefficient of .670, muzzle velocity of 2,850 feet per second, numbers, calculations, variables she could control. Unlike everything else. Across the compartment, Owen Brooks was checking his gear for the third time. The rookie's hands moved with nervous energy. This was his first operation outside of training. Kira remembered that feeling, the mix of excitement and terror. She caught his eye. Brooks, you good? He looked up, tried to smile, failed. Yes, Sergeant. First time That obvious, you've checked your kit 3 times in 10 minutes. Relax. Check it once. Trust your training. What if I freeze up? The question hit closer than he knew. Kira leaned forward. You won't. You know why? Because your team is counting on you. And when your brothers need you, your body takes over. Training kicks in. You do what needs doing. She hoped it was true. She hoped she believed it. The helicopter banked, beginning its descent. Through the window, Kira could see mountains, endless peaks covered in pine and aspen. The Wind River Range stretched across western Wyoming like the spine of some ancient creature. Beautiful, remote, unforgiving. The crew chief held up 5 fingers. 5 minutes. The team performed final checks. Kira loaded a magazine into the MSR but didn't chamber a round. Not yet. She slung the rifle across her back and checked her sidearm. SIG Sauer P 226, 15 rounds of 9mm, just in case. The Black Hawk flared, settling into a mountain clearing. Trees bent in the rotor wash. The crew chief slid the door open. 30 seconds. The team rose as one. Kira was fourth in line. She could see the landing zone through the open door. Rocky clearing, dense forest beyond. Darkness broken only by the helicopter's running lights. Go, go, go! They piled out. Kira hit the ground weapon up, scanning her sector. The second Black Hawk was landing 50 meters away, disgorging the rest of the team. Then the helicopters were gone, the rotor noise fading into the mountain silence. 12 SEALs alone in the wilderness. Thornhill's voice came through the radio, low, calm. Comms check, sound off. One by one, the team reported in. When everyone was accounted for, Thornhill gave the order. Move out, tactical column, night vision, noise discipline. They moved through the forest like ghosts. Kira's PVS-31 night vision goggles turned the world green. Trees became shadows. The trail ahead glowed faintly from starlight. Her boots found purchase on the rocky ground. Heel to toe, minimizing noise. The MSR across her chest barreled down, ready. They hiked for 3 hours, 15 kilometers through mountain terrain. The altimeter on Kira's watch climbed steadily. 8,000 feet, 9,000, 10,000. The air grew thin, cold. Each breath visible in the night vision as a faint green mist. At 6:30, they stopped to rest. Kira found a fallen log and sat taking measured sips from her camelback. Her legs burned. Good pain, the pain of muscles working, of being alive. Ashford, the comm specialist, was frowning at his radio. Sir, I'm getting interference now. Thornhill moved to his position. What kind? Not sure. Solar activity? Maybe satellite comms are sketchy. I'm getting maybe 60% signal strength. Can you work with it? For now, but if it gets worse, monitor it. Let me know if it degrades further. Kira felt the first tingle of unease. Communications were their lifeline. Without satellite support, they were on their own. Thornhill must have sensed the team's concern. We adapt. We've operated in comms blackout before. If it comes to it, we go old school. Stay sharp. Stay together. We'll be fine. They moved out again. The sun rose behind them, painting the mountain peaks orange and gold. Kira pulled off her night vision and let her eyes adjust to natural light. The forest was beautiful. Aspen trees with bark like paper. Douglas fir reaching toward the sky. A stream cutting through the valley below, water so clear she could see the rocks on the bottom. It looked peaceful. But Kira had been in enough places that looked peaceful. Afghanistan looked peaceful from a distance. Iraq looked peaceful. Syria looked peaceful. Right up until the shooting started. At 08:30, Sterling called a halt. He was kneeling beside the trail, examining something in the dirt. Chief, you need to see this. Brennan and Thornhill moved forward. Kira shouldered her rifle and scanned the tree line. Force of habit, always covering. What you got, Doc? Sterling pointed at the ground. Boot prints. Fresh, maybe 3 days old. Thornhill knelt beside him. How many? Hard to say. At least 20, maybe more. Military-grade boots, Vibram soles, same pattern as our Salomons. Could be hunters. 20 hunters, moving in tactical formation. Look at the spacing. Kira moved closer. Sterling was right. The prints showed discipline, equal spacing, staggered line, the kind of spacing you learned in military training, not civilians. Thornhill's jaw tightened. Could be our contractors. Means we're close. They continued with increased caution. Weapons came up. Spacing widened. Every man scanning his sector. The valley opened up ahead. Kira could see it through the trees. A narrow ravine carved between two mountain ridges, maybe 400 meters long, 80 meters wide. Perfect for a training facility. Also perfect for an ambush. But that thought came later. Thornhill hand signaled. The team spread out. Kira moved to the southern ridge, climbing through the rocks to her overwatch position. 220 meters above the valley floor. Clear sight lines in all directions. She set up her rifle. Bipod deployed on a flat rock. Scope adjusted. She pulled out her Kestrel wind meter and took a reading. Wind 4 knots from the northwest. Temperature 42 degrees. Barometric pressure 29.1. She made notes in her dope book, then settled in behind the scope. Through the magnified view, she could see the valley floor clearly. Structures, 4 buildings, prefabricated. Recent construction, too new for an abandoned facility. A vehicle park, 3 Toyota Hilux trucks, 1 Mercedes G-Wagon, all with mud still fresh on the tires. Weapon racks, she counted slots for 40 rifles. Most were filled. Training obstacles, a shooting range, target silhouettes at various distances. This wasn't some temporary camp. This was a full-scale training facility. Kira keyed her radio. Reaper to actual. I count 4 structures, multiple vehicles. This location is more developed than intel suggested. Thornhill's response came back measured. Copy, maintain overwatch. We're moving in for closer reconnaissance. Through her scope, Kira watched the team advance. They moved with practiced efficiency. Bounding overwatch. 2 men moving while 10 covered. Professional. Disciplined. But something felt wrong. She couldn't articulate it. Just a feeling. The way the valley was too quiet. The way the buildings seemed too organized. The way the defensive positions looked too professional. Her scope swept the ridgelines. Nothing. The tree line. Nothing. The buildings. Nothing. But the feeling remained. She watched Ashford intercept something on his radio scanner. Watched him gesture to Thornhill. Watched the team leader's body language change. Her radio crackled. Reaper actual. Ashford is picking up radio traffic. Military-grade comms. Professional encryption. These aren't weekend warriors. Copy. What's the call? A pause. Thornhill was making the calculation. Abort and lose the intelligence. Continue and risk exposure. We proceed, but weapons tight. First sign of compromise, we extract. The team moved into the valley. Kira's unease grew. She swept her scope across the ridgeline again. This time she saw it, a flash of movement. There, on the eastern ridge, she adjusted her scope. A man, dressed in tactical gear, holding an AK-74, in a concealed position with clear sight lines into the valley. A guard post. Kira swept further, found another, and another. Her heart rate increased. Actual Reaper. I've got eyes on guard positions. Eastern Ridge. Multiple hostiles. They're watching the valley. Copy. How many? She kept counting. The positions were well concealed. Professional hide sites. I count 15, 18, 22. She swept to the northern ridge. More positions. Actual, they've got the entire valley covered. This isn't a training camp. This is a defensive position. Thornhill's voice remained calm, but she could hear the edge. Team weapons up. Prepare to... The explosion cut off his transmission. The northern exit of the valley erupted in fire and smoke. C4 demolition charges. Tons of rock collapsed, sealing the passage. 3 seconds later, the southern exit exploded. The valley became a box, and Kira's team was trapped inside. Muzzle flashes erupted from every direction. AK-47s, PKM machine guns, SV Dragunov rifles. The distinctive crack of supersonic rounds echoed off the canyon walls. Through her scope, Kira watched her team scramble for cover, watched them return fire, watched young Owen Brooks take a round to the shoulder and go down. She started counting targets. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 52. 52 hostile combatants in prepared defensive positions with crew-served weapons and high ground, against 12 SEALs in a kill zone with limited cover and no support. The math didn't work. Kira's radio exploded with traffic. Contact front. Man down, Brooks is hit, taking fire from 3 sides. Where's our air support? Thornhill's voice cut through the chaos. Mountain Command, this is SEAL Team Charlie. Broken Arrow. We are in a prepared ambush. 50 plus hostiles. Grid 4-3, North 109 West, Unknown Valley. Requesting immediate quick reaction force and close air support. How copy? The response came back through heavy static. Charlie actual, negative on support, solar flare, satellite disruption, helicopter operations, ground convoy, 70 minutes. Can you hold? 70 minutes. Kira chambered around in her MSR. The bolt cycled smooth. the cartridge seated with a solid click. She acquired her first target, Eastern Ridge. Machine gunner, range 420 meters. Wind 4 knots northwest. She adjusted her scope, 1 minute of angle right, half minute up. Her finger found the trigger, 2 pounds of pressure, but her hands were shaking. Through the scope, she saw Colton Wade take a round to the chest, saw him fall, saw Doc Sterling drag him behind a boulder. She saw Liam Garrett falling in Afghanistan. Heard his screams. Her finger froze. Reaper. We need suppressive fire now. But she couldn't move. The valley below had become hell. Tracers cut through the air like angry hornets. Bullets sparked off rocks. The team was being systematically destroyed. And Kira Blackwood, the legendary sniper with the 847-meter kill, couldn't pull the trigger. Then the radio crackled with a new voice. Calm, professional, elderly, but strong. SEAL Overwatch. This is Sentinel. Breathe, daughter. You're overcorrecting the wind. Adjust 1 minute of angle right and shoot. Kira's breath caught. Who the hell? A different sound cut through the chaos. A sharp, authoritative crack that stood out from the AK fire and machine guns. 400 meters away, the machine gunner on the eastern ridge jerked. His head snapped back. He fell. The crack came again. Another hostile dropped. The elderly voice returned, still calm, like he was teaching a rifle course instead of fighting for survival. SEAL Overwatch. I count 52 hostiles. You adjust your breathing and start helping your team. They're counting on you, just like Garrett counted on you. Don't let them down. Not again. Kira's hands stopped shaking. She didn't know who Sentinel was, didn't know how he knew about Garrett, didn't know where he was shooting from. But she adjusted her scope 1 minute right, found her target, and pulled the trigger. The MSR kicked against her shoulder. Through the scope, she saw the target fall. Her first shot since Afghanistan. Clean kill. The radio crackled again. That's it, Reaper. Now keep shooting. I'll take the hard targets. You protect your team. We're going to get them out. Together. Kira chambered another round. In the valley below, 11 SEALs fought for their lives. On the ridgeline above, a mysterious guardian started evening the odds. And Sergeant First Class Kira Blackwood began to remember who she was. The battle for the unnamed valley had begun. Kira chambered another round. The brass glinted in morning sun before disappearing into the MSR's chamber with a solid click. Through her Leopold scope, she acquired her second target, Eastern Ridge, 480 meters. A hostile with an SVD Dragunov tracking her teammates below. The wind had shifted, northwest to north. She felt it on her left cheek, adjusted her scope. 1 minute of angle right, half up for distance, exhaled to the natural pause between heartbeats. Squeezed. The MSR bucked, the familiar punch against her shoulder. Through the scope, she watched physics manifest. The 250-grain bullet covered 480 meters in 0.63 seconds. Struck the target's center mass. The man with the Dragunov fell backward. Didn't move again. 2 confirmed kills in 40 seconds. Her hands no longer shook. The mysterious voice returned through her radio, calm as a man ordering coffee instead of directing combat. Good shot, Reaper. Clean follow-through. Proper breathing discipline. Now target at your 10 o'clock. 520 meters, pink shirt behind the gray boulder. He's their field commander, directing fire teams via radio. Take him. Kira swept her scope left, found the boulder, found the man. He was partially concealed. Only upper torso visible, holding a radio, gesturing to units across the valley. She calculated angles, wind, distance, bullet drop. I don't have a clean shot. He's got hard cover. You don't need clean. See the granite boulder to his left. Shoot it, ricochet. 18-degree deflection angle. Aim 2.3 feet left of target. Kira hesitated. Ricochet shots existed in theory, in advanced ballistics textbooks, in stories instructors told about legendary snipers from wars long past. Not in real combat. Below her position, Declan Hayes screamed. A round had torn through his thigh. Doc Sterling was crawling through incoming fire to reach him. Bullets kicked up dirt around the medic. Any second one would find him. Reaper. Sentinel's voice carried absolute certainty. Trust the mathematics. Trust yourself. I've made this shot 100 times. Now you will too. Shoot. Kira ran the numbers. Granite was hard, crystalline structure. The .338 Lapua had enough mass to maintain integrity through deflection. The angle looked viable if the surface was smooth enough. If, maybe, possibly. Hayes screamed again. She aimed at the boulder, 2 feet left of the target, held her breath, felt her heartbeat slow, fired. Through the scope, she watched a miracle of physics. The 250-grain projectile struck granite at approximately 2,400 feet per second. The impact created a shower of sparks visible even in daylight. The bullet deformed slightly but held together, deflected at precisely 18 degrees. The man in the pink shirt jerked like he'd touched a live wire. Red bloomed across his chest. He toppled sideways. The radio fell from his hand, dead before he understood what happened. Kira's breath caught. How did you know that would work? 35 years of practice, daughter. Mathematics doesn't lie, physics doesn't change. You just learned something snipers spend careers trying to master. Now keep shooting, your team needs you. The mysterious sniper's rifle cracked again from his hidden position. The sound was distinctive, sharper than the AK-47s, more authoritative than the PKMs, each crack punctuated by silence. Then another hostile falling. Sentinel was methodical, systematic. He wasn't just shooting, he was dismantling their entire assault infrastructure. Machine gun position, crack. Gunner falls, mortar spotter, crack. Spotter eliminated, RPG team loading, crack. Loader drops, the rocket falls unfired. Secondary machine gun, crack. Another crew-served weapon silenced, each shot selected for maximum tactical impact. Kira recognized professional military thinking. This wasn't random shooting. This was deliberate destruction of enemy combat power. She focused on closer threats, hostiles advancing on her team's defensive position. She worked her own rhythm now, her own deadly mathematics, target acquisition, range estimation via mil-dot reticle, wind call from mirage and feel, bullet drop calculation accounting for altitude and temperature, 400 meters, squeeze, the satisfying kick. Through the scope, the target falls, kill, 380, adjust for slight downhill angle, fire, kill, 460, longer shot, account for increased bullet drop, fire, kill, 320, close enough to see facial features through the scope. A young man, maybe 25, somebody's son. She pushed the thought away. He'd chosen to ambush Americans. That choice had consequences. Fire, kill. Her magazine ran dry. She performed the reload with muscle memory, ejected the empty 5-round magazine, reached to her chest rig, retrieved a fresh magazine, loaded, chambered, back on scope. The entire process took 4 seconds. 24 magazines loaded before the mission. Now 19 remained, 95 rounds total. She needed to make every one count. Through the scope, she watched Thornhill organizing the defense below. The team had consolidated into a tight defensive position behind a cluster of boulders. Good interlocking fields of fire, decent cover from direct fire. But they were still pinned, still surrounded, still dying. Ashford was working his radio frantically. She could see his frustration even at 200 meters. The solar interference was getting worse. Satellites weren't responding. The team's lifeline to command was degrading. They were on their own. Sentinel's voice came through her headset again. Different tone now, more personal. Kira Blackwood, 8 years with Naval Special Warfare. 3rd deployment, Afghanistan. 2nd, Iraq. Designated marksman, qualified at age 26. Youngest female graduate in the program's history. She kept scanning for targets, but her mind raced. How do you know my record? That 847-meter shot in Helmand Province, summer of 2019. Taliban commander, extreme heat, Mirage making range estimation nearly impossible. But you made the shot, saved a Marine patrol. That was exceptional work. That's classified after action reporting. Who are you? I know more than your service record, Kira. I know you lost Corporal Liam Garrett 6 months ago. Afghanistan. Different valley. Different enemy. Same mountains that take good men too soon. Her hands tightened on the rifle. You have no right. I know you blame yourself. I know you've been seeing Dr. Patricia Morrison at Naval Medical Center, San Diego. Tuesdays at 1400. I know you almost didn't deploy on this mission. Almost turned it down because you weren't sure you could pull the trigger when it mattered. The words struck like physical blows. That information wasn't just classified. It was personal, private, known only to her therapist, her commander, and herself. How could you possibly? Another crack from Sentinel's rifle. Another hostile eliminated. I know. He continued, his voice gentler now. Because I trained Liam Garrett 12 years ago, advanced sniper course. He was talented, dedicated. Reminded me of someone. The world seemed to slow. Kira's finger rested on the trigger, but she wasn't seeing through the scope anymore. You're lying. He carried a photo in his helmet. His uncle, Master Chief, Navy Cross recipient. Liam wanted to make him proud. Wanted to be like him. We talked about it during night watches. During those long hours between missions when men tell each other truths they don't share anywhere else. Kira remembered. She'd seen that photo. Had held it after Garrett died. An older man in dress blues. Severe face, but kind eyes that seemed to understand things others didn't. Master Chief Silas Garrett, Liam's uncle, reported killed in action. Gulf War 1991. Body never recovered. His uncle died 33 years ago. Did he? Before she could respond, Sentinel's tone changed. Sharp, urgent, combat-focused. Hostile squad, you're 6 o'clock, 300 meters. Moving through the dead ground to flank your team's position. I don't have the angle from here. You need to engage immediately. Kira spun, acquired the targets through her scope. 6 men moving with professional fire and movement tactics. Bounding from cover to cover. Covering each other's movement. These weren't militia. These were trained soldiers. She took the lead man first. 310 meters. Slight uphill shot. She aimed high to compensate. Center mass. Fired. He dropped mid-stride. The other scattered. Professional reaction. They'd been under sniper fire before. Kira tracked the second man. He dove behind a rock outcropping. She waited. Counted. Human psychology said he'd peek to locate the shooter. 3 seconds. 2. 1. His head appeared. She fired. The round struck the rock 6 inches from his face. He jerked back. But Kira had already adjusted. The .338 Lapua wasn't just powerful. It was devastating against cover. She aimed at the rock itself, sedimentary stone, porous, soft compared to granite, fired. The 250-grain bullet punched through 18 inches of sandstone like it was cardboard. The man hiding behind it died before he heard the shot that killed him. Beautiful shooting, Sentinel said, approval in his voice. You're learning faster than Garrett did. He'd be proud. They fell into a rhythm after that. 2 snipers working as one unit despite being separated by distance and anonymity. Sentinel called targets Kira couldn't see from her position. Mortar team, Northern Ridge. Behind the tall pine. Range 700 meters. Kira found them. Adjusted for extreme distance. Fired. The mortarman fell. Spotter, you're 7 o'clock, 540 meters. Behind the rusted vehicle frame. She acquired, calculated, fired, kill. Kira engaged threats Sentinel couldn't angle on from his elevated position. I've got 3 hostiles advancing up the western draw, 200 meters from Thornhill's position. Take them. She did. 3 shots. 3 kills. 11 seconds total. The coordination was perfect. Seamless. Like they'd been working together for years instead of minutes. The enemy was reeling. Their coordinated assault dissolving into chaos. Command structure eliminated. Heavy weapons crews dead. Numerical advantage evaporating under precision fire from 2 invisible angels of death. 43 hostiles became 39. 39 became 34. 34 became 31. But victories always have costs. Through her scope, Kira watched young Owen Brooks trying to apply a tourniquet to his shoulder wound. Watched his hands shake. Watched blood soak through the bandage faster than he could tighten it. Watched Colton Wade lying too still behind a boulder. Doc Sterling kneeling beside him, checking for pulse. Finding none. Sterling's head dropping in defeat. 2 dead, 4 wounded, against 31 remaining enemies. The math was improving, but it was still bad math. Her radio crackled with Thornhill's voice. Reaper, Sentinel, ammunition status check. Kira counted her remaining magazines. 17. 85 rounds. Reaper has 85 rounds remaining. Sentinel's response came slower than before. His breathing sounded different, labored, strained. Sentinel has adequate supplies for current tactical requirements. Something in his voice made Kira pause. The calm was still there, the professional tone. But underneath, she heard something new. Pain. Sentinel, you hit negative, continue engaging targets. But she heard the lie, recognized it. She told the same lie herself after Garrett died, after the therapist asked if she was okay, after her mother asked if she was sleeping. I'm fine. The universal lie of warriors who aren't fine at all. The enemy heard it too. Or maybe they'd been planning it all along, because their tactics changed. Through her scope, Kira watched hostile units pulling back from the valley floor, consolidating. Then 15 men broke off from the main force, started climbing. climbing the northern ridge, climbing toward wherever Sentinel was hidden. Sentinel, you've got climbers inbound. 15 hostiles. They're coming for your position. I see them. His rifle cracked. One of the climbers tumbled down the slope. I'll handle it. What's your exact position? I can provide covering fire. If I tell you you'll see me, can't have that. Not yet. This isn't a game. No, Sentinel agreed. His rifle cracked again. Another climber fell. It's not, but some things need to remain mysterious, daughter. Keep your focus on the valley. Protect your team. I'll manage the climbers. Kira swept her scope across the northern ridge. The terrain was brutal, steep, lots of dead ground where she couldn't establish sightlines. The climbers were using the terrain expertly, bounding from cover to cover, coordinating movement. These men knew what they were doing. Sentinel's rifle cracked. A third climber fell, but 13 remained, moving fast, getting closer. Reaper, Sentinel's breathing was definitely labored now. I need 90 seconds. Can you buy me that time? What are you doing? Relocating to secondary firing position. On my mark, I'll expose my location briefly. You'll see the muzzle flash. Engage any targets you can acquire during my movement. Understood. Sentinels, if you expose yourself, they'll converge on. That's why I need you ready. Kira's heart hammered. This was insane, but she understood tactics. Understood that sometimes the only way out was through. Ready. Mark, a muzzle flash bloomed on the northern ridge, 800 meters from Kira's position, higher than she'd expected, nearly at the ridgeline's peak. Sentinel had been shooting downhill at extreme angles this entire time. The climbers saw it instantly, oriented on the flash like sharks toward blood. Open fire. The distinctive chatter of AK-47s on full automatic. Tracers arcing toward the position. Kira engaged, found the lead climber in her scope. 540 meters. Moving target. Uphill angle. She led him by 2 body widths. Squeezed. The round caught him center mass. He tumbled backward down the slope. Didn't stop rolling for 30 feet. She worked the bolt. Brass ejected. New round chambered. Back on scope. Second target. 510 meters. Stationary. Firing towards Sentinel's position. Easier shot. Fired. Kill. Third climber. 580 meters. Behind a tree. She waited. Patience. He leaned out to shoot. She fired the instant he exposed himself. The round took him in the throat. He fell. 60 seconds. Sentinel's voice. Definitely strained now. Kira engaged a fourth climber. 500 meters. Moving. Missed by inches. Adjusted. Led more. Fired. Hit. The man went down clutching his leg. Not a kill, but he was out of the fight. 4 down, 11 still advancing. She swept for another target. Found one. 495 meters. Centered the crosshairs. Fired. Kill. 30 seconds. 10 climbers left. They'd closed to within 200 meters of Sentinel's last known position. Some were firing. Kira could see tracers converging on the ridgeline. See bullets kicking up rock and dirt. She engaged rapidly now. Fired. Work the bolt. Fired. Work the bolt. Fired. 2 more down. 8 climbers remaining. 10 seconds. Get down. Kira dropped behind her rock. A mortar round exploded where Sentinel had been. Then another, and another. The enemy had called in their mortar team, bracketing fire on Sentinel's last position, walking the explosions across the ridgeline in a methodical pattern designed to kill anyone in the impact zone. Through the explosions, Kira heard a sound that made her blood freeze. A grunt of pain over the radio, sharp, involuntary, the sound a man makes when he's trying not to scream. Then labored breathing, ragged, wet. Sentinel status. A pause, more labored breathing. I'm operational, just an explosion. Closer. The radio cut out for 2 seconds. When it came back, Sentinel was moving. She could hear it, the rustle of gear, heavy breathing, a muffled curse. Just took some shrapnel, left shoulder, nothing critical, I'm moving to... He stopped. Kira heard him catch himself, probably stumbled. Moving to secondary position now, but his breathing told a different story. The breathing of a man badly hurt, trying to maintain operational capability through discipline and will alone. Sentinel, how bad is the wound? I've had worse. Just need to reach the next position. She heard him moving, each breath labored, each movement costing him. Talk to me, Sentinel. Keep talking, so I know you're conscious. Bleeding, not arterial. Can manage it with field dressing. Just need to... His voice trailed off. She heard the sound of him stopping, of fabric tearing, the sharp hiss of pain being bitten back. What are you doing? Field dressing, one-handed. Not as easy as the manuals make it look. You need proper medical attention. What I need is to keep shooting. Your team's still in trouble. He was right. Through her scope, Kira could see the valley. The remaining hostiles had consolidated. 31 fighters in prepared positions. They'd stopped the direct assault, but were regrouping, setting up for something else. Crew-served weapons being repositioned, teams moving with purpose, coordinating. They were preparing for a final push. Sentinel, they're massing for assault. I count 31 hostiles. Still too many for my team to handle with current ammunition levels. Then we keep thinning the herd. His rifle cracked, weaker than before, the sound slightly off. But a hostile spy fell in the valley below. I can still shoot. But she could hear it wasn't true. The shot had taken longer to set up. The follow-up was slower, the precision degrading. He fired again, missed. Kira heard him curse, something she hadn't heard him do before. Wind shifted, didn't account for. He trailed off. Sentinel, you can't shoot effectively wounded. Let me take the shots. You just call the targets. Guide me like before. A long pause. Just the sound of his labored breathing. Pain being processed. Pride being swallowed. You sure you can handle it? I've been learning from the best, haven't I? A weak laugh. Pained but genuine. All right, daughter, let's see what you've really got. Target, you're 11 o'clock. Cave opening, 640 meters. 2 hostiles inside. They're setting up a PKM machine gun on a tripod. You can't hit them directly, but if you ricochet off the cave wall. Kira found the cave, saw the men inside, dark shapes moving in shadow, calculated angles. Limestone, softer than granite, 21-degree deflection angle accounting for surface composition. Show me what you learned. She aimed at the cave wall, 2 feet right of the targets, adjusted for the ricochet, held her breath, fired. Through the scope, she watched the bullet strike limestone. Sparks flew, the round deflected inward. One of the men inside jerked violently, fell. Good, one more, same technique. Adjust slightly for the new angle. She did, fired. The second man dropped. Outstanding, you're a natural at this. Now, northern cliff face, 2 targets behind that rock outcropping. 590 meters. They're spotting for the mortar team. They're the reason those mortars are so accurate. Eliminate them. For the next 10 minutes, Sentinel became her spotter, her teacher. His rifle silent, his voice guiding her through shots that seemed impossible. Ricochet shots off various surfaces, moving targets at extreme range, targets through vegetation, targets in windows, shots requiring calculation of not just wind and distance, but terrain deflection and material penetration. Each time Kira made the shot, 31 hostiles became 28, 28 became 24, 24 became 19. Her ammunition was critical now, 43 rounds remaining, but the enemy was breaking. Their assault had stalled, their commanders dead, their heavy weapons eliminated, their numerical advantage evaporating. Then Sentinel's voice changed, weaker, words slightly slurred. Kira, I need to tell you something important. Save your strength. No, listen, that cave shot, the ricochet's technique. Liam's uncle taught me that 40 years ago in a valley in Iraq during the first Gulf War. Different war, same principles, same mathematics of deflection and angle. Sentinel, please. He was the best sniper I ever saw, Master Chief Silas Garrett, and he'd be proud of you today, just like Liam would be. You understand, you've done nothing wrong, not in Afghanistan, not with Garrett's death. You've done everything right. You're exactly the warrior you're supposed to be. Stop talking like you're dying. I'm not dying, I'm just tired. Lost more blood than I calculated for. Vision's getting blurry on the edges. Hands shaking too much to maintain steady sight picture. Then we extract. My team can secure a perimeter. We can get you out. No, mission's not complete. 19 hostiles still active. Your team's still in danger. Still pinned. Still low on ammunition. We can handle 19. With what ammunition? Ask your team. Check their status. Kira keyed into the team frequency. All units ammunition check. Report. The responses came back grim, each one worse than the last. Brennan, 1 magazine, 4 grenades. Gallagher, half magazine. Sterling, 3 rounds total. Sullivan, 1 magazine -4. One by one the team reported. The math was brutal. maybe 180 rounds total among 11 men, against 19 professional fighters who now knew they were facing only 2 snipers, who'd learned caution from casualties, who were preparing for a final coordinated assault. Thornhill's voice came through heavy with reality. Reaper, we're in a critical situation. If they rush us with what we have left, we can't hold the position. We'll be overrun. As if responding to his words, the enemy commander's voice echoed across the valley, speaking through a megaphone. Heavily accented English, Eastern European, Russian maybe. American sniper, you are isolated. Your team is surrounded. Surrender now, and I give my word, your men will live. You have 60 seconds to decide. Kira's finger found her trigger. Sentinel, they're demanding surrender. Don't believe him, he's lying. If you surrender, he'll execute everyone, every single one. How can you know that? Because I've seen Commander Viktor Kozlov before. Different country, different war. He doesn't take prisoners. Never has. I've been tracking him for 3 years. He's responsible for the deaths of 17 American contractors in Syria. He tortures before he kills. Your team surrenders, they die screaming. Kira watched through her scope. The enemy was massing, preparing for a final overwhelming assault. 19 fighters against 12 exhausted SEALs with minimal ammunition, and 1 wounded sniper who could barely hold his rifle. The mathematics were impossible. Sentinel's voice came through one final time, so weak now she could barely hear him over the radio static. Kira, when they charge, when they come for your team, you're going to be alone. I can't help anymore. Shoulders too damaged. Lost too much blood. Can't keep my eyes open. Vision tunneling, hands won't stop shaking. Stay with me, don't you dare. Can't, I'm sorry, but you can do this. Everything I taught you today. All of it, use it. Trust yourself, trust your training. You're better than you know, better than you believe. Sentinel, please. Tell Thornhill. Tell him Sierra Golf sends his regards, he'll understand. What does that mean? But Sentinel's breathing was fading, each breath more shallow, more distant. The only easy day, well, was yesterday. Finish it, Reaper. For Garrett, for all of them. Show them what his student, what his guardian, became. The radio went silent, complete, absolute silence. Through her scope, Kira saw the enemy begin their assault. 19 fighters emerging from cover, moving in coordinated fire teams, using proper fire and movement tactics, professional, deadly, determined. She checked her remaining ammunition, 43 rounds. Checked the distance to the first wave, 380 meters. Did the mathematics. Impossible. But Liam Garrett's voice echoed in her memory, from a different valley, a different time, a different war that felt exactly the same. Reaper, impossible just means nobody's done it yet. Be the first. Kira Blackwood chambered around, settled behind her scope, controlled her breathing using everything Sentinel had taught her in the last hour. In, hold, out. Below her, 11 SEALs prepared for their final stand. Above her, somewhere on the northern ridge, her mysterious guardian lay wounded and unconscious. Around her, the Wyoming mountains watched in ancient silence as they'd watched 1,000 battles before. And Sergeant First Class Kira Blackwood began the most important shooting of her life. The first hostile crossed into open ground, 380 meters. Kira centered the crosshairs on his chest, exhaled to the natural pause between heartbeats, pulled the trigger. The rifle kicked. Through the scope, she watched him fall, then chambered another round, and another, and another. The battle for the unnamed valley entered its final phase, and the student became the guardian. The rifle kicked against Kira's shoulder. Through the scope, she watched the first hostile fall at 380 meters. Clean headshot. The body dropped mid-stride. She worked the bolt. Brass ejected. Another round chambered. Second target. 340 meters. Moving left. She led him. Fired. Center mass. He went down. 41 rounds remaining. The enemy kept coming. Fire and movement. Professional tactics. They'd learned caution from the casualties they'd suffered. But they were committed to now. All or nothing. Third target. 410 meters. Behind cover. She waited. Patience. He leaned out to fire at her team below. She put a round through the gap. Kill. Fourth target. 290 meters. Closer now. Sprinting between rocks. Moving target. Difficult. She tracked him. Led by 3 feet. Fired. The round caught him in the shoulder. Not a kill, but he was down. 38 rounds. The second wave was moving. 6 fighters advancing in a coordinated rush, trying to close the distance, trying to get inside her effective range where their automatic weapons would dominate. She engaged rapidly. Controlled breathing, smooth trigger press, follow through, 270 meters. Kill, 320. Kill, 360. Kill. The wave faltered. The surviving fighters dove for cover. 35 rounds, 13 hostiles remaining. Kira's hands were steady. Her breathing controlled. Every shot counted, every movement deliberate. This was what 8 years of training had prepared her for. This moment, this impossible stand. Below her, Thornhill's voice rallied the team. Reapers thinning them out. Prepare to counter-assault on my mark. The enemy commander's voice boomed across the valley again. Angry now, desperate. Rush them, all units overwhelm the sniper. The remaining 13 fighters emerged from cover, a coordinated charge, firing as they advanced, trying to suppress her with volume of fire. Bullets ricocheted off the rocks around Kira's position. Close, too close. But she didn't flinch. She adjusted her scope, acquired targets, fired with mechanical precision. 300 meters. Kill. 280. Kill. 330. Kill. They were at 250 meters now, inside the range where their AK-47s could hit accurately. Rounds snapped past her head. One struck her pack. Another sparked off the boulder beside her. Kira shifted position, rolled left, came up behind a different rock, back on scope. 290 meters. Kill. 260. Kill. 28 rounds remaining. 8 hostiles still charging. Her team opened fire from below. The combined pressure caught the enemy in a crossfire, but the SEALs' ammunition was nearly exhausted. Their shots came in sporadic bursts instead of sustained fire. Kira kept shooting. 240 meters. Kill. 220. Kill. 6 enemies left. 15 rounds in her rifle. Then her radio crackled. Sentinel's voice. Weak, fading, but carrying something new. Something final. Kira, listen. There's something I need you to know. She fired. 80 meters. Kill. Sentinel, save your strength. No, you need to hear this. That day, Afghanistan. When Garrett died, I was there. Kira's finger froze on the trigger. What? 800 meters out, in the rocks. I saw the RPG team, saw them flank. I took the shot. I killed 3, but the fourth got Garrett before his voice broke. The invincible guardian. Breaking. I'm sorry, Kira. I'm so sorry. I tried to save him, but I wasn't fast enough. Not good enough, and I've been trying to make it right ever since. Watching over his teams, over you, trying to... Twist number 7, the revelation hit like a physical blow. Sentinel had been there, had tried to save Garrett, had been carrying the same guilt she'd carried, the same burden. Silas, the only easy day was yesterday, daughter. Now finish it. Finish what we started. For Garrett, for all of them. Show them what his student became. 65 meters. Kira fired through tears. Kill. 50 meters. Fired. Kill. 3 enemies remained. 7 rounds left. But these 3 were veterans. They split up, used cover, moved unpredictably. Kira's vision blurred. Not from tears now, from something else. Clarity, purpose, understanding. Garrett's death wasn't her fault, wasn't Sentinel's fault. It was war, chaos, the mathematics of violence where good men died despite everyone's best efforts. But what mattered was what came after, how you honored them, how you protected the next generation. She tracked the first remaining hostile. He disappeared behind a boulder. She counted. 3 seconds. His head appeared. She fired. Temple shot. Kill. 2 enemies. 4 rounds. The last 2 broke. Professional fighters who understood when odds turned impossible. They retreated, sprinting back toward the northern exit. Kira acquired the first. Easy shot. Fleeing target at 100 meters. Her finger touched the trigger, then released. She let them go. Let them carry the story. Let them tell others what happened when you ambushed Navy SEALs. Let them spread the legend of the valley where 52 became 2. The valley fell silent. No gunfire, no explosions, no screaming, just wind through pines and the distant cry of a hawk. Kira lay behind her rifle. Her shoulder ached from recoil. Her eyes burned from the scope. Her hands trembled from adrenaline and revelation. She keyed her radio. Sentinel, Silas, I understand now. Thank you for trying to save him. For saving me. For everything. Static. Sentinel, nothing. Silas. Only wind answered. Kira secured her rifle with shaking hands. Started climbing down. The descent took forever. Each step heavy, each breath difficult. When she reached the valley floor, Brennan met her. His tactical vest shredded, blood on his sleeve, but alive. Hell of a shooting reaper. She couldn't speak, couldn't process. Just nodded. Casualties. Brennan's face went hard. Owen, Colton, both gone. Declan's leg is bad, but Sterling thinks he'll make it. Ashford has a concussion. The rest are walking wounded. 2 bodies under ponchos. 2 young men who'd never go home. Kira knelt beside them, lifted the first poncho. Owen Brooks, 23 years old, the rookie who'd asked if he'd freeze up. She touched his cold forehead. You didn't freeze, brother. You stood, you fought, you did everything right. She moved to Colton Wade, 22. His first real operation, his last. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry I couldn't save you both. Thornhill's hand on her shoulder. Blackwood, you saved 10. That's what matters. Now we need to find your guardian. She stood, professional mask sliding back into place, but underneath the cracks remained. Yes, sir. The climb to Sentinel's last position took 30 minutes. Kira led, Gallagher and Sullivan followed. 500 feet of vertical ascent, loose scree, exposed cliff faces. She found the first position easily. Shell casings scattered like brass flowers. 51.338 Lapois. She picked one up, still warm. Blood painted the rocks, dark, thick, too much blood. Sir, Sullivan called. Blood trail? They followed it along the ridgeline. The trail showed Sentinel's discipline. Even wounded, even dying. He'd moved with purpose, with training that transcended pain. The trail ended at a cliff edge, 200-foot drop to forest below. Kira approached carefully, looked over, saw rope marks on the rock. Recent. Someone had rappelled, but no rope remained, no gear, no trace except the marks. She searched the area, found more casings, found disturbed earth, found something else. A challenge coin, wedged in a crack between rocks, placed deliberately, left as a message. She picked it up. Front Navy SEAL trident, worn but pristine. Back 12 stars in a circle. In the center engraved words, the watch continues, beneath the star's initials. KB, her initials. Kira's hands shook. Gallagher found the final message, carved into the cliff face with a knife. Fresh cuts. Recent. Taught by Garrett's guardian, now his guardian teaches another. Below that one more line. Forgive yourself, daughter. He did. Kira traced the letters. Her vision blurred with tears she'd held for 6 months. For 6 hours. For a lifetime. She understood now. Sentinel hadn't just saved her team. He'd saved her from guilt, from doubt, from the weight of carrying Garrett's death alone. He'd shown her the truth, that good people try their best, that sometimes it's not enough, that the only way to honor the fallen is to protect the living. She pressed her forehead against the rock. Let the tears come. Thank you, Silas. Thank you. The wind carried no answer, but she felt it anyway. Approval, release, permission to move forward. Sullivan touched her shoulder gently. Reaper, we should head back. Extraction birds are inbound. She nodded, pocketed the coin, took one last look at the carved words. Then they descended. The helicopters arrived 40 minutes later. 3 Blackhawks with full medical teams. They loaded the wounded first. Declan Hayes, Bennett Ashford. 4 others with various injuries. Then the dead. Kira helped carry Owen Brooks. His body was light, a young man's body. Too light, too young. She settled him gently on the stretcher, leaned close. The only easy day was yesterday, brother. You proved that today. The flight back took 3 hours. Kira sat in silence, staring at the coin in her palm, tracing the 12 stars, thinking about chains of guardians stretching back through time, teachers and students, protectors and protected, guilt and forgiveness. Around her, the team processed survival. Some slept, some stared, some talked in low voices about impossible shots and mysterious angels. No one mentioned Sentinel directly. Not yet. But Thornhill watched her. She saw understanding in his eyes. He knew, not details, but enough. The debriefing came 48 hours later. Conference room at Naval Special Warfare Command. Thornhill, Brennan, Kira, Senior leadership. Two men in suits who didn't introduce themselves. The senior suit spoke first. Lieutenant Commander Thornhill, your after-action report mentions an unidentified friendly sniper. Elaborate. Thornhill's face remained neutral. At approximately 0700 hours while under heavy fire from 52 hostiles, my team received fire support from an unknown shooter. Radio call sign Sentinel. His intervention was decisive. Visual confirmation. Negative. He maintained radio contact but never revealed his position. The suit turned to Kira. Sergeant Blackwood, you were Overwatch. You must have seen something. She met his eyes. Muzzle flashes, Northern Ridge, 800 meters from my position. By the time I reached that location, the shooter had evacuated. But you found evidence. She showed photos, casings, blood, carved message, the coin. The suits examined them, exchanged glances. The coin, where is it? My possession. We'll need it for investigation. Kira's hand moved to her pocket. Protective. Thornhill interrupted. Gentlemen, with respect, this individual saved 12 American lives. I'm interested in thanking him, not investigating him. The senior suit's expression hardened. An unidentified sniper on U.S. soil is a security concern. Then good luck finding him. The junior suit opened a file. We've analyzed the ballistics, the positions, the tactics. They match historical patterns, specifically operations conducted by Master Chief Silas Garrett. Reported killed in action 1991, Gulf War. Body never recovered. The name hung in the air. Master Chief Garrett would be 68 years old. And if he survived, Thornhill said, spent 33 years perfecting his craft, some men get more dangerous with age. The suits weren't pleased, but they closed their files. Official records SEAL Team Charlie successfully defended against hostile forces. 2 KIAs occurred during extract under enemy fire. No mention of Sentinel. No investigation. This conversation never happened. As they filed out, the senior suit pulled Kira aside. Off the record, Sergeant. If you ever contact this individual, we'd like to know. Off the record, sir, I'd respectfully decline. He studied her, then nodded. Thought you might. The coin, keep it. Means more to you than us. 3 months passed like water through fingers. Kira returned to San Diego, to Audrey, to the apartment that felt both familiar and foreign. The nightmares changed. She still dreamed of Afghanistan. But now Garrett wasn't dying. He was teaching, showing wind calls, talking about deflection angles. And sometimes an older man stood beside him. Gray beard, kind eyes, watching with approval. She slept through the night for the first time in 6 months. The Navy promoted her, senior sniper instructor, teaching the next generation at SEAL Training Command. She discovered a gift for it, patience, precision, able to break complex ballistics into simple truths. One afternoon, demonstrating ricochet technique, a student asked the inevitable question. Instructor Blackwood, where'd you learn this? She was setting up the shot. Granite boulder, target behind it, calculating angles that seemed impossible. From someone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. She fired. The bullet sparked off granite, deflected, struck target center mass. The students erupted in amazement. Kira smiled, almost heard Sentinel's voice. Good shot, daughter. At night she researched, used her clearance to access old files, learned about Silas Garrett, service record spanning 20 years, Navy Cross, Silver Star, 4 Bronze Stars with Valor, specialty long-range precision, Overwatch operations, Guardian Angel tactics, last known operation Desert Saber, February 1991, Overwatch for Marine reconnaissance. Team survived, Garrett vanished. Official status, killed in action? Presumed. But she found something else, buried deep in classified archives. A pattern, 1984. Beirut. Marine survivors reported sniper support. No friendly snipers in area. 1985. Mogadishu. Rangers pinned down, unknown Overwatch eliminated 15 hostiles. 1986. Iraq. SEAL Team 5 extraction. Unidentified shooter. Vanished before contact. 1987. Afghanistan. Firebase under assault. Mystery sniper turned the tide. Attached to the 2011 file, Corporal Liam Garrett's statement. The shooter moved like my uncle used to, like a ghost protecting his family. Kira closed the file. Understood. Silas Garrett, fighting for 33 years after his reported death. Protecting, watching, guarding those who couldn't guard themselves. Some warriors never stopped. On a Saturday, Kira took Audrey to the beach. They flew a kite, watched wind catch fabric, saw it dance. Mommy, you seem different. Different how? Happier. You don't check your phone at night. Kira smiled at her daughter. Someone reminded me what matters. Who Pam? A guardian angel. Audrey looked at her with serious 8-year-old eyes. Are they real? Kira thought about Sentinel's voice, about impossible shots, about forgiveness carved in stone. Yes, baby, they're real. That evening an email arrived. No sender, encrypted, GPS coordinates and a time. Wyoming wilderness, 20 miles from the valley. She shouldn't go. Could be anything. But she knew better. She requested leave, told Audrey it was Navy business, kissed her daughter, drove north. The coordinates led to a remote cabin, so isolated it didn't exist on maps. Kira approached weapon ready, every sense alert. The cabin was empty, but inside a cache, a rifle, vintage Remington 700, .338 Lapua Magnum, maintained like sacred object. A logbook, weathered leather, hundreds of pages filled with neat handwriting. She opened it, read, 1984, Beirut, Overwatch for Marines, 12 protected. 1989, Panama, SEAL Team 4, 8 protected. 1993, Mogadishu, Rangers, 15 protected. Page after page, operation after operation, decades of silent service. 2011, Afghanistan, Firebase, CPLL, Garrett among 32 protected. Failed to save him 2 weeks later. Shrapnel wound prevented proper angle. My failure. My burden. Kira's throat tightened. The last entry made her hands shake. 2024. Wyoming, SEAL Team Charlie. 12 protected. Told KB the truth about her partner. Passed the watch. Time to rest. Mission complete. SG. Beneath it a note on separate paper. Fresh ink. Kira, you asked who I was. I'm what you'll become. A guardian who watches when others can't. The watch never ends. It finds new watchers. This rifle is yours. Use it to protect those who protect us. When they need you, be there. Like I was there for you. Like someone was there for me 40 years ago. Garrett would be proud. I'm proud. The chain continues. Forgive yourself, then teach another to forgive. Silas, Kira sat as sunset through cabin windows. Held the note. Read it until she'd memorized every word. She understood her purpose now. The next morning she returned to base. Requested meeting with Thornhill. He received her in his office. Closed the door. Blackwood. Sir, I need a secondary assignment. Off-books Overwatch operations. When teams are in trouble and need guardian support. Classified. Thornhill studied her for a long moment, then opened his desk. Pulled out a file. This authorization was signed 4 weeks ago. Someone high up the chain. High enough I don't question it. He handed her the file. Inside her photo. Service record. New call sign. Guardian Actual. You're officially at training command. Unofficially you deploy where needed, when our people need a guardian. She stared at the file. Sir, did you know? I suspected. Stories about a mystery Overwatch operator have circulated for 20 years. Always wondered who. Now I know. And I know who carries the watch forward. He stood, extended his hand. Some legends die. Others pass the torch. Make him proud, Reaper. She shook his hand. I will, sir. 1 year later, Afghanistan, a SEAL team pinned down, 40 hostiles, bad terrain, no air support available. Kira set up 800 meters from the fight. Silas's Remington, the rifle that had protected generations. She keyed her radio. SEAL Team Delta, this is Guardian Actual. I have Overwatch. Maintain your position. A young voice responded, scared, desperate. Guardian, who are you? An older voice cut in, veteran, calm. Don't question it, kid. Trust the Guardian. She's got us. Kira smiled, acquired her first target, breathed, fired, clean kill. Affirmative Delta, beginning engagement. You're not alone. Far away in a different valley, an old man sat on a cabin porch. Gray beard, weathered face, 69 years old but still strong. He listened to a radio, heard Kiara's voice, heard her shots, smiled. That's my girl. 10 years passed, Audrey turned 18, enlisted Navy, wanted to follow her mother's path. Kira gave her the challenge coin. The one Sentinel had left, 12 stars. What is this, Mom? A promise. When you need help most, someone will be watching. Who guardians were never alone. Audrey studied the coin, traced the stars. Will you be there? Not always, but someone will. The watch never ends. Audrey deployed 2 years later. Marine unit in trouble. Bad situation. Kira took overwatch. Two ridge positions, one for her, one for her radio crackled. Guardian actual, this is Guardian 2, in position. That voice, older, weaker, but unmistakable. Guardian 2 identify. A familiar chuckle. You know who this is, daughter. Some of us can't stop. The watch is too important. Silas, you're supposed to be retired. Tried it, didn't take. Turns out some men aren't made for rocking chairs. We're made for mountains, for protecting good people. Below them, Marines moved into danger. Above, two Guardians settled behind rifles. Ready when you are, daughter. Kira chambered around. The only easy day was yesterday. Now you're learning. They began to shoot. 30 years after Wyoming. Audrey Blackwood stood before a SEAL training class. 48 years old, senior sniper instructor, following her mother's path. She held up a coin. My mother gave me this. Her guardian gave it to her. His guardian gave it to him. The chain goes back generations. Protectors watching protectors. Some serve in uniform, some in shadow, all serve the same purpose, keeping warriors alive. A student raised his hand. Instructor, is that real or just a story? Audrey smiled. Next time you're pinned down, out of options, listen carefully. You might hear a voice you don't recognize. Might see help from impossible places. And if that happens, don't question. Just trust the guardian. She pocketed the coin. They've got you. In the back, an older woman sat quietly. 72 years old, gray streaking auburn hair, weathered face, kind eyes still sharp. Kira Blackwood listened to her daughter teach. Felt pride. After class, Audrey approached. Good lesson. Learn from the best mom. They walked the base together, mother and daughter, both guardians. Deployment orders came, Audrey said. Syria, bad terrain. They asked if I wanted overwatch. What did you say? Yes, it's what we do. Kira nodded, saw herself in her daughter, saw Sentinel in herself, saw the chain continuing. Be careful. Always. Remember, you're never alone out there. Audrey touched her pocket where the coin rested. I know. Somewhere in mountains, an old man cleaned a rifle. 99 years old, moving slower, breathing harder, but still strong enough. Silas Garrett loaded his Remington, checked his scope, studied a map of Syria. His radio crackled. Guardian 3, this is Guardian Actual. Mission is go, grid Charlie 7. Multiple teams in contact. Audrey's voice. Third generation. Latest link in the chain. Silas smiled. Copy actual. Guardian 3 moving to position. He stood with effort, joints protesting. But training overrode pain. He'd made a promise 40 years ago. To watch over those who couldn't watch themselves. To be the guardian in the shadows. Some promises you kept until you couldn't anymore. And he wasn't there yet. In the mountains, 3 generations took their positions. Separated by decades. United by purpose. Kira at 72, still teaching, still ready. Audrey at 48, leading the watch. Silas at 99, the original guardian, still protecting. They settled behind their rifles, watched over teams in trouble, did what guardians do, protected those who protected others. The only easy day was yesterday, and the watch never ends.